You are listening to the EdTech Takeout from Grantwood AEA, an educational service agency that supports school districts in eastern Iowa with a focus on equity, excellence, and efficiency in education for all children.
Welcome to episode 40 of the EdTech Takeout, the podcast that serves up bite-sized technology tips for teachers. My name is Mindy Carney, and I am joined by the one, the only, Jonathan Wiley.
Geez, that's quite the introduction, Mindy.
Well, you know, I'm feeling extra special today.
Now I am feeling extra special,
no, that's what
too.
I meant. I meant that.
Yeah.
I wanted you to feel extra special. It's not about me. It's about you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what's up? How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Since the last time we recorded, I did have the unfortunate experience of having 2 wisdom teeth removed.
Really? Are you 16 or what?
I know. This is something I'm learning about, that in this country that people normally get these out when they're teenagers,
right.
but not so much in the country of my birth. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I had to have 2 wisdom teeth taken out. And it turned into a cautionary tech tale.
Oh, okay. Shed some light on that.
Yeah, I know. I went in and got hooked up to all these machines, and they gave me a sedation because one of the wisdom teeth was lying on a root.
Which gives me the EBGBs.
Yeah, a little bit me too. And they
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure that, you know, if they were digging around there, that, you know, if anything went wrong.
To use the word digging around. Oh my gosh, that's even worse.
I know. So they gave me this sedative, which took effect very quickly. It was just a case of he walked in and goes, yeah, this will take about 15 seconds before you notice something. And that's the last thing I heard for an hour, because I woke up with the nurse like tapping on my wrist saying, Jonathan. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're done. Awesome. Because I didn't feel anything at all, which was amazing.
Yeah.
So I woke up and there's a wheelchair next to me waiting at the bedside here. So I had to get wheelchaired out to the car where my wife was waiting.
Yeah.
Because I needed a designated driver because I felt all kind of weird and fuzzy on the on the sedative. So I get into the car and for some reason, the first thing I decide to do is start texting everybody I know and sending them selfies of me after I walked out of surgery.
I know.
Because you got one.
I got one.
It wasn't a great picture. It was like me with like gauze hanging at both sides of my mouth. It was...
You look like a walrus.
I can see that.
Or like Turner and Hooch. Have you seen the movie Turner and Hooch with the dog and with the
drool?
slobber? Yeah.
There wasn't drool, was there?
It wasn't. Well, I guess I should... I don't know. We promised to like just let that photo go. We promised not to meme it.
I know. I remember distinctly telling my wife, I do not want to be on America's Funniest Videos.
Right.
Do not start taking video of me when I'm in this drugged up state.
Yeah.
And I decided to do it to myself, apparently.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, even the text that you sent with it, like, didn't make any sense.
Yes, and I don't know if that was autocorrect or me just randomly pressing buttons on my phone, because I mean the one I sent to my mother-in-law said like wow love PQESTD or something, and I'm like, what is going on? I have no recollection of sending those things. The only reason I know that I did send them is because I look back in my text history and I can see it. But I texted you, I texted my mom, I texted my sister, I texted the team. It was like. And then my wife took my phone off me, apparently, which I don't have any recollection of, but we drove to the pharmacy to get even more drugs. Yeah. To help with the painkillers. Because
you needed some, obviously.
Apparently. And we're waiting for the pharmacist, and I'm like, where's my phone? And she's like, I took it off you. You look like you were drunk texting.
You were.
And apparently I was,
It was good stuff.
Nothing ended up on social media.
Totally made my day. We promised not to. We promised just to let it slide.
I'm
You're
glad
welcome.
you did.
Yeah.
I can imagine this like secret sly text conversation that you guys had that wasn't including me. So
yeah, side text.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better and able to talk today. And...
I'm feeling better, a lot less swollen and good stuff like that.
Yeah, it's good. Well, should we get at this or what?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, news and follow-up. Checkmark Chrome extension. I don't remember anything about this, so you're going to have to like refresh my memory.
So a few episodes ago, I think I mentioned the Checkmark Chrome extension as a tech nugget.
Yeah.
And it was a way where teachers could, it's an add-on for Google Docs, I believe. And it's a way that you could give feedback to students on like an essay or something. And the only problem with it at the time that people didn't like about it was that you couldn't customize your comments. You chose them from a comment bank. And now an update has given you the power to have customizable comments.
That's nice.
Yes, I think so.
All right. So just recently, I think this week, like maybe 2 days ago or so, I saw that Book Creator had added real-time collaboration. It's just a paid version, though, of Book Creator. So you don't get the collaboration in the free version of Book Creator.
This is Book Creator for Chrome, is that right?
Book Creator for Chrome, yeah, thanks.
I don't want to get mixed up with the iPad one.
Right. So from what I understand, because I went in and took a look at it a little bit, is that all of the students have to be in the same library. Okay. So you can't just like send someone email and say, hey, do you want to collaborate on this book? It has to be someone that is within your library. But yeah, kind of a nice little add-on for a book creator. So something to take a look at.
Cool.
Yes.
I don't know which one to do next.
Do your Google group one.
Okay.
This is a good one.
I created a Google group to fix one of my pet hates about Inbox.
Oh, I hate this too.
And we talked about this, I think, in the show last time. We were using Gmail or Inbox by... Is it Inbox by Gmail or Inbox by Google?
Inbox by Google, yeah. I don't know how it's inbox.google.com.
I'm still using that Inbox product that is created by Google, and
whatever you call it.
One of the things I didn't like was I did not get any of my contact groups pulled over, and it didn't recognize any. So I fixed that by creating a Google group for our team and
within our domain.
Right. Yeah. So that's basically how I got around that little one.
I know. I'm going to start using that too. I just thought about that the other day.
You should.
I haven't sent any like group emails for a while, so I'll definitely remember that. So thanks for solving that problem.
Sharing is caring, Mindy.
That is true.
We want your words of wisdom.
Oh yeah, I don't have many. Next up, these next two I don't know anything about. I'm going to let you talk about them. Twitter launches bookmarks.
Yeah.
A private way to save tweets. Tell me more about that.
I think in the old days before they had... What did they have before, like, the heart? Do you remember? Did they have something before?
It was a star.
It was a star, yeah. You starred
you
things...
You favorite it, yeah.
To favorite things. So if you want to go back and look at tweets later. Then they changed it to the heart.
Yeah.
And that kind of changed the meaning a bit to, like, I like your tweet. Yes.
Yeah.
So they've gone back and you've given you the option to like save things. And if you look in your app for iOS or Android, you'll now see like a little arrow next to the heart icon.
Okay.
And if you tap on that, one of the options is bookmark this tweet.
Oh.
So if there's a tweet you want to go back and look at later, you can bookmark it. And you can go back to your profile and find your bookmarks and go find them in there.
Which is kind of nice because I have that even with ift.
Yes.
I-F-F-F-F-F-F-F-T.
Lots of T's.
Yeah. There's a lot of T's. There's a lot of
T's.
It's lots of T's. Okay, so I have that, and I never go back and look at it. It's just like a spreadsheet in my Google Drive somewhere, but this maybe would be something I'd be more likely to use than going to find that.
Maybe, yeah. Something different.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't do long-term storage there, like a social bookmarking type of thing, but if you just want to save it and go back and look at things later and find it, could be a quick way to do it.
Yeah, it's nice. All right.
The other one was... tip I noticed from Richard Byrne, which is ViewPure. Have you ever used ViewPure before?
Yes. Yep.
It's that tool you use to make a YouTube video in a nicer environment without sidebars and ads and all that stuff. It just cleans up the whole YouTube page. Mm-hmm. Those guys have started to put together some curated playlists for educators.
So they're putting them together, or you can create your own curated playlist of ViewPure?
They are putting them together. Okay. So they're curating them and putting them together, sorting them by subject and things like that. So if you're looking for elementary math, and you can drill down a little bit through it, and they're going through... Maybe they're seeing some of the popular videos that teachers are putting through their platform and tagging them, or they're just got some educators or knowledgeable people on staff that are going through and filling out some stuff. So it's early days. There's not a huge number there, but if you're thinking, I use ViewPure already and I use educational videos, we'll put a link in the show notes and you can go see what they have.
Nice. All right, up next, main course, served to you piping hot, physical education and technology. We're going a little off-grid here for us.
Yeah, this is an
We're
interesting
in the weeds
one.
right now, right?
We are.
We are.
That's
we
why,
are.
That's why we brought in some experts to help with this.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking with Kari Bullis and Ryan Gotto, who have a lot more experience with technology and physical education. That's why we brought them in as our experts. Yeah, so we have two guests today. We have Kari Bullis and Ryan Gotto. So, Kari, do you want to start and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kari Bullis, and I teach at Williamsburg High School. I teach 8th through 12th grade physical education, and this is my 13th year teaching.
All right. How about Ryan?
All right. I spent 8 years teaching physical education. I spent 2 years at the high school level teaching both 10th grade health and physical education. And then I spent 6 years teaching physical education at the elementary level. The last 4 years, I've been a technology integration coach for the Linn-Mar Community School District at the elementary level.
Very good.
So do you want to tell us a little bit, how about Kari, we start with you. What does it look like with technology being used in the gym? What's that look like?
I think it depends on what we're teaching. We are one-to-one with MacBooks, and the kids traditionally just have theirs with them in the locker room. We don't have them bring them to class every day, unless we know ahead of time, you guys need to have your computers tomorrow. Otherwise, we just, hey, go grab your computers real fast. They grab them out of the locker room. They come in. And what we're using them for is, it just depends on what it is. Like, we just finished our dance unit. They worked on choreography, worked on coming up with, searching YouTube for music and different dance steps and things like that. They're using Google Classroom. In our classroom, they're using, different things. So it just kind of depends on what we're working on. And I think for the most part, it's used for research in my classroom.
Cool, yeah, because I think it's one of those things that I don't know. I know I've met teachers in the past, and they've said things like, or you hear this from other teachers online, and they'll say, "Well, yeah, I'm a PE teacher. I don't use technology. I don't need computers because my kids are always doing activities and exercise and all that kind of thing." So, yeah, it's just trying to open people's eyes a little bit and make people think about different ways that technology can be used. So, Ryan, do you have any examples?
Yeah, I think a lot of teachers, a lot of physical education teachers, they think of PE as a time when it's a way for students to get away from all that technology, and I don't think that's really the case. I think you can gain a lot. Let's face it, students love technology, and it can really add to a class. There's a lot of great videos out there, a lot of assessment tools. The video feature is just great. So students can videotape each other, and they can analyze their skill and give each other feedback. So there's a lot of benefits to adding technology into physical education.
Because some of this is about students using technology, and other times it's about the teacher using technology and things that the teachers can do. I know you and I have had many email chains back and forward on using Google Forms and autocorrect and all that kind of craziness as well. So maybe talk about some of that too.
Yeah, I think for the most part, that's what people, physical education teachers are using it more on the teacher side, just for to make things easier for us to, project things. Like Ryan said, the video part of it. I just did a skills, evaluation today, just a formative assessment. And I have my iPad, and I can just go down and I actually don't click anything if they have everything correct. But if they, are missing one thing, I just click no, and then I hit submit, and it automatically sends it through, either if I use Flubaroo or if I just use the quiz feature on Google Form. And before they even get out of the locker room, they already, have that in their email, and the kids know exactly the things that they need to be working on. They have that feedback right away. Whereas if I'm doing paper pencil, they're waiting until the next day to get that. To us, it's definitely a lot more on the teacher side of it than the student side of it within within the class, whereas the kids are using technology for our class. They might just not be using it on a daily basis inside of our class.
Yeah, yep. So you mentioned some formative assessments, which use Flubaroo and Forms. Are there any other things that you guys are using or have used in the past for formative assessments in with physical education?
Yeah, sure. We've had teachers use, elementary teachers have used Seesaw. So the students will videotape each other performing a skill that is assessed. And then kids can actually, if they don't like the recording, they can actually redo it. And if they say like, oh, I can do it better than that, they can perform the skill again. And then they just share that. They upload it up on a YouTube, and then the teacher can actually assess it from Seesaw.
I think a lot of people are, at least elementary physical education teachers, are really seeing the benefits of using Seesaw in their classrooms. Assessment and just like as an advocacy tool to show parents like we're not just throwing a ball, or just showing the parents what it is that they're doing in their classroom and what the kids are learning. Another thing that we use is Go Formative. A lot of times I like the feature where I can kind of draw the X's, and I can have kids show by just drawing an arrow on there to, where should this defensive person be? Or, if all of these hockey players are here, where should you pass the puck? Or, just nice things like that it's not something that they would have to do just paper and pencil, and we can just do it on the computer, and it's quick and easy.
Talk to us more about the video part. Is that like a video modeling type thing where they'll have like a YouTube video of like people doing a certain exercise or something? Is it that kind of thing you're using it for, or is it students recording each other, or all that kind of stuff together?
I think it's kind of a combination of the two. So a lot of teachers will use possibly like QR codes and YouTube videos in order to teach a skill. And then we can also have students record each other. Just analyzing their own performance, I think is an important piece. And there's actually some apps that you can create like a video delay. So you can set it for like a 5-second video delay. You can perform the skill, and then you can just look at the iPad really quickly, and you can see how you perform that skill, and you can critique like your technique and things like that. So there's a lot of neat apps for video recording.
So are students recording each other then, or do you have a stand set up, or I'm just kind of thinking of the nuts and bolts of it?
Yeah, you can have it like as a station. So station rotation, and one of the stations is you can have an iPad set up and the student's performing a skill in front of it. So for example, like one thing elementary students really struggle with is their push-ups. A lot of times their bottom will come up in the air or it'll sag way down. So a lot of times before we do fitness testing, I'll set that iPad up for them, and then they can perform the skill and look at the iPad really quickly. And since it's on that little 5 or 10 second delay, they can look over and they can kind of correct their own technique on their own. So that's one thing that I've used it for in the past.
We project video a lot. I mean, whether it's a yoga app or it might be dance. It might be, an exercise. You use GIFs a lot in PE. But it's a nice thing that if I'm in front of the class and I'm teaching step aerobics or I'm teaching Zumba, I have no way of, I could, but I would never just like stop in the middle of my 3-minute Zumba song to correct somebody's technique or help them out with something. Whereas if somebody else is leading that class for me, I have the ability to go around and show them the correct technique that they might just be missing this one little piece in their downward dog. But if I'm up in front of the class and I'm leading that, then it's really hard. You can just imagine you can't stop the class for that. So that's one of the really nice things. I know people, at first I struggled a lot with like, well, then I'm not teaching. Well, no, I'm actually doing more teaching because I'm the one giving feedback and I'm the one when teaching. I'm just not actually leading the Zumba class myself. I'm able to go around and help people where they need help.
I have a really important question. Kari, what are the chances that you could bring Zumba to Grantwood AEA? You just come and teach a class.
I don't know if that's appropriate, Mindy.
It's not. Why
not? Would Jonathan do it?
Do I need spandex for that?
You can wear whatever you want to wear. That's what I tell my kids. Whatever you feel comfortable wearing is fine.
I don't think anybody wants to see that, really.
You're right, we don't. So, Kari and Ryan, you might have some ideas of this too. You had mentioned about, like projecting video and stuff. And I remember like when I was in the classroom having like yoga apps and stuff. I had kids that I always felt like just needed to take a break from, the structure of the classroom, and would there'd be apps that I could run and they would just do yoga poses and stuff like that out in the hallway. Are there things like that you could recommend to teachers? You're like, hey, even like for a classroom teacher, like they want to get kids moving a little bit. Are there recommendations that you have for some of those things, even just in a gen ed classroom?
Yeah, there's a lot of different tools out there. There's a lot of research that goes into physical activity and brain development and academic performance. So there's a whole bunch of things. A really popular one right now is GoNoodle. So they have a lot of videos that they'll run your students through a workout. So it's great for like if there's indoor recess. We're kind of getting past that right now, but it's great for in the winter when you go through those cold streaks and your kids just need to get up and moving. There's some videos called Jammin Minutes. Mesquite is the school district that has a bunch of, I think they have like 55 different videos where they'll put your class through a little mini workout. There's also something called Brain Breaks. And then there's another PDF, free PDF that puts the students through some light workouts called Activity Bursts in the Classroom. So it's ABCs for fitness is another word for that. So there's a lot of, and if you just do a Google search for brain breaks or physical activity in the classroom, you're gonna come up with a ton of results to give those students a little brain break.
Kari, is that anything that people do at the secondary level, or do you not see as much of that up there?
I definitely don't think that you see as much of it up here, but I think over the years it's gotten definitely more common. I think, even at the high school level, the kids need that break. Yeah. Depending on how their day looks, they do get that, depending on, if they have 40-minute classes or if they have 80-minute classes, and you're definitely pushing if schools are still at the 80-minute time, having block scheduling, that they are stopping in the middle of their classes, or it's not even just stopping. It's not, you don't have to do a brain break. It's the, having that kinesthetic classroom. So, figuring out ways that how you can teach the curriculum that you already teach, but, getting them up and moving. So, getting them up and doing a walk and talk with their class, or getting them up and doing the blended learning where you write on the, what are they called? Just the big pieces of paper on the wall when they have to go around to different stations and things like that. But just getting them up and moving is definitely, needed at the high school level. But, like I said, it's more commonplace. Like, it might not just be stopping, though. It might be continuing what you are doing, but just being, more cognizant of how you are teaching it, and are you teaching it where the kids are just sitting there. The one that I was going to add to Ryan's list was Sworkit Kids. That one's kind of an interval one, but it's definitely, it's made for kids by kids, and it's a good, they have a Sworkit one that's for adults. That's a really good one that I used at the high school level, but they have a kids one for the elementary kids as well.
It's kind of funny. I went from going to PE conferences to technology conferences, and when you make that switch, you realize how important those little brain breaks are.
Oh yeah,
getting up and actually moving. Because when you go to a PE conference, that's all you do is it's hands-on.
Oh yeah,
a lot of physical activity, and then you go to these tech conferences and you just sit there all day long, and you realize how important it is to get up and actually move around. So that's my aha. That was my aha.
That's an interesting observation for sure. There's a lot of sit and get at tech conferences and things like that now. I mean, some of the sessions they're they're trying to do more hands-on stuff and workshop it and things like that. But yeah, we need to go to some more PE conferences, Mindy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sure. We have one coming up in Nashville, so 2 weeks.
Do they have Zumba then?
I'm sure they have Zumba. They have lots of dance. We have lots of dance stuff. But I'm actually presenting with some other people, and we're doing a technology session. So we'll see how it goes.
Very cool. So, I mean, thinking about moving around, I see here, Ryan, that you put on the show notes here that you did an elementary blended learning PE unit once, and that's becoming really popular with our teachers in just the regular classroom, that station rotation model. But I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. That must work really awesome for PE. It makes so much sense.
Yeah, it was great. When I think about myself, like going through school, and I look at the way that I exercise now, it's completely different. And you look at like my wife got big into yoga. And when I was in school, if you would ask me what yoga was, I probably would have said like Yogi the Bear.
Yeah.
I had no idea, and probably no one really did. But what I wanted the students to realize is that just because we don't go over it in school doesn't mean that you can't learn it. And, YouTube's a great asset for teachers and for education. And, chances are if you want to learn a new skill, there's probably an expert somewhere in the world that's posted how to learn that new skill on YouTube, and you can find it in 30 seconds. So I wanted to teach kids that just because they don't learn it in school, that there's other resources out there for them to learn it. So what I did is we took 4 different activities, 4 different units. We split the gym into 4 quadrants, and then I found videos for each one of those units. So kids got a choice on what unit they wanted to learn about, and then they went up to QR codes, scanned it, learned part of that skill, and then they practiced. And then once they felt comfortable with it, then they scanned the next QR code, and we kind of built from there. So it turned out to be a great activity. Kids loved it. There was a lot of buy-in because the kids had choice in what they wanted to do. So it was a really neat activity.
Cool. Thanks for sharing.
QR codes are like built for PE, I think. I mean, they're awesome everywhere, but man, it's so easy to use a QR code and something like that, just a quick scan, and gives kids exactly what you want them to have. I love QR codes. It's great.
When I was trying to prep this podcast, I was thinking about people I follow or learn from online and social media and things like that. And in terms of PE and technology, I can only think of one person, and that's probably just my limited scope on this here. But I follow a lot of the stuff that the PE Geek does, and Kari has handily put his name in here, Jared Robinson. Who else should we be looking at, and how amazing is the PE Geek?
I will attest to that. He's amazing. He does a really good job of answering people's questions and putting out good, premium content, free content most of the time as well. He does he has his own podcasts, but I just think that he's available.
I just noticed we've got episode 65 of the PE Geek featuring Kari Bullis. Already been on their podcast there. Looks like you were talking Flubaroo, Google Drive, Twitter, Voxer. So, yeah.
All the same stuff.
You're internet famous.
Funny. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I know another one down the list there I put on is voxerpe.com, and we have lots of different Voxer chat groups that are PE and health groups that I think we probably have one of the biggest, PLCs out there that you can find a Voxer group that will fit your exact needs, whether you're an adapted PE teacher or you just teach aquatics or you just teach elementary. Those are all on there. We also have a technology group on there, and he's in there. So he's just a Vox away that you can ask him a question. And there's lots of people that are you might not be doing as much as Jared, but that are just as capable of answering questions and giving ideas is probably the biggest thing that Voxer gives you, even if you didn't think that you had a question, just by listening to other people. you're able to hear their questions and you're like, oh, I never really thought about it that way. Or, oh, that's a great idea. So yeah, the voxerpe.com is definitely something that I would recommend people checking out if they're into Voxer, or if they have a long drive.
Ryan, do you have any favorites or any go-to places that you like?
I'm not a big social media guy. There is a website, PE Universe, where it's it's a website where teachers can post videos of their lessons and activities. Kari, you actually shared with me a Google Drive folder with a bunch of resources in there. Do you want to talk a little bit about that as well?
Yep. So we have a huge just crowdsourced Google Drive folder. So it got so big that we had to kind of reevaluate and change ownerships because you can only share it with 500 people. So once we hit that, we kind of had to like move things over. It got so big, but I can definitely put the link to that in the show notes. But it is a Google folder. What if you wanted to be somebody who was contributing to it? Then so like mine has I just have a folder that says Kari Bullis, secondary PE, and then I just put anything that I think people could use or might want to look at, or those type of things. And what's really nice about it is that it's searchable. So once you've added it to your drive, if I need a sports stacking activity for my adapted PE class, I just type in sports stacking, and now I have probably 30 different activities that other PE teachers have done in their classrooms, and it's all right there for me. And so yeah, that's free for anybody to use. And then if you decide that you want to be a contributor to it, then I can give you editing rights, but it'll be just a viewable folder for everybody to see. And then that way we can try to keep it under 500 people that have editing rights to it.
Anything else we want to cover, Mindy, or... do you want to wrap that up, or maybe we should ask you guys if there's anything else you guys want to cover?
We didn't talk about GIFs.
GIFs are just easy for the kids you can easily just kind of look up if you have them projected for the kids to see exactly what it is that it's just a time saver for you as a teacher too. So you're not showing them 8,000 times, how to do a proper burpee, that they can see what it is. But there's lots of different activities that you can use with the GIFs that are up there, dice games and things like that I've seen. But we also use them in assessment. So it just having the video, but having it keep going over and over again. So if, we're assessing them over the different types of stretches or even, I just made one for a tennis serve. And it'll just loop over and over again instead of having them before. And maybe it's not even like this anymore, but before, you put in a YouTube video and then it kind of stopped and it went to a different video, or it might not loop it back for you. So the GIFs are just a really nice thing in PE.
So are you creating these GIFs, or are you finding them in other places?
Both.
Both. Okay. What are you using to create your GIFs?
I use, if I'm on my computer, depending on what it is that we're doing, I use the MakeGif Chrome extension.
Oh, okay.
Just MakeGif, all one word, video capture, and it's Chrome extension. It's super easy to use. So then I can just, my teaching partner he did the different stretches, and I just videotaped it, and then we made it a GIF.
All right. Well, Kari and Ryan, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with all your huge wealth of knowledge with us about physical education and tech tools. We definitely could not have done this episode without you.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you so much. And you guys could. It just takes a lot of creativity of thinking, outside the box of all the, awesome things that you can use technology for.
You're giving us way too much credit. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now to my favorite part of the show. It's time for Tech Nuggets.
That's it? No nuggety.
Not today. Not today. I
feeling
felt
it
like
today?
I spent all my energy on your introduction.
That was a lot of energy, yeah.
It was. I only have so much. It's
Yeah.
late in the afternoon today.
It is. You're right.
All right, you go first. What you got?
All right, my first one here is one I don't even know where I found this. I came across it by
That's
accident.
always good, yeah.
So somebody's going to go, I told you about that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah sorry. It's called Card.
Okay.
And it's Card with 2 R's. Card.co. And I came across this. I thought it was interesting. There's something I tend to recommend to, high schoolers when I work with them. If I ever have to do that kind of preparing for the workforce or going to college and stuff like that, Gina and I have done some work with people on that before.
Nice.
And one of the things we recommend is that they have some kind of online profile put together. So we encourage them to create a LinkedIn account, create some social media accounts, so that when people Google them and search these people online, that they find something positive about them.
Sure.
So, one of the ones I've used for a long time is called about.me.
Yes.
Do you have one of those?
I do.
In fact, I saw yours recently.
Why?
I think it was in
me
your
online. You don't need to stalk me. We live next door to each other.
I think it was on your email signature or something, and I hadn't seen it before. I saw it somewhere, and I clicked on it, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know Mindy had one of these."
Oh, what? Because I'm not good enough to have one? What?
Not what I was thinking at all. I just was unaware.
Yeah. No. Yep.
So Card is like about.me.
Oh, okay.
Is the long story short.
All right.
But it's also interesting. You don't have to use it just for that, but you can put together a one-page website. Mm-hmm. So if you want to do a one-page website for something similar to a s'more or something like that, you can do that in here, or you can just put together a one-page kind of online resume profile type thing where you upload a picture of yourself, put some information, add some links. If you want to get techie and geeky, you can edit the HTML and change all those other stuff on there too.
Yeah.
Free for up to 3 sites per account.
Oh.
And you get to be card.co/Jonathan Wiley or whatever you want to be.
And About Me is just one. It's just one thing,
That's
right?
just one,
it's been a while since I've been back.
Yeah,
and you can only do so many links on there too, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
you can. With Card, you get 3 one-page websites for free.
Nice. Okay. All right, so my first tech nugget is actually a tech nugget from my kids, if you can believe it. They have been talking about this guy, Mystery Doug, at home, and I kind of got the gist of it from what they were telling me, but I finally looked it up, and so Mystery Doug is this guy who answers questions that students pose just about, I don't know, just questions that kids ask. The one up right now is about why and how hand sanitizer works and things like that. So it's kind of just a quick 5-minute video answering a kid-based question, and just kind of does it in an interesting way, I guess. So my kids really, really love Mystery Doug, and it is free. I kind of looked at it a little bit more closely after I created an account, and from what I see, for it to be completely free, you have to invite 5 people, and then all of the videos get unlocked. But until then, there's only a video or 2 that you can watch. So you have to kind of start the pyramid or the waterfall effect and invite 5 friends, but then it unlocks all of your videos. There is also, after each video, a little writing prompt for kids. I don't know if I necessarily call it a writing prompt, but it is a sheet that kids can write on that answers the question that was posed. So how does hand sanitizer work? And then the kids write their answer of what they took away. So more maybe of kind of just a quick check-in to see if the kids grasp the knowledge that Mystery Doug was sharing. So I suggest you go to that one, mysterydoug.com, and take a look and see if maybe there's something that you'll find there that you like.
To solve all those questions that kids have,
the burning
about
questions
stuff.
out there.
Yes.
Mystery Doug has your answers, apparently.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to find it hard to follow that one, I think. All right, so a couple of episodes ago, I talked about a Microsoft app called Seeing AI. Do you remember that one?
I do.
Where you kind of take pictures of things and it will tell you what's in the scene, or it will guess the gender or age of a person on there, and it's for those low vision community.
Yeah.
They have another one that's similar and for the same type of people. I just thought it was worth mentioning. Again, just from a technological curiosity standpoint, I think it's really interesting. It's called Microsoft Soundscape.
Okay.
And the way it works is you put headphones in, Bluetooth headphones or something, and as you're walking down the street, it will call out at different points things that you pass along the way. So if you are passing Starbucks on your right, in the right earbud, it will say Starbucks is on the right.
No way, really?
Yeah, and as you come to an intersection, it will say this is the intersection of Johnson and Fifth or whatever, yeah. And it'll read out the places where you are as you're walking down the street. And I know a lot of these people have like guide dogs and things to help them, and obviously that will make sure that they get to the places they need to get to. But just to give them some context of where they are, and they do this thing that's called 3D audio, so that if it's behind you, it will make it sound like it's behind you in your headphones.
Do you have to have special headphones or something like that?
There are some headphones that they do recommend for it, but it can be any headphones in theory, yeah. So, kind of an interesting app. I mean, like I said, it's not going to be for everybody,
right?
But worth a look if you're just interested in some very interesting technology. There's a video on there that shows people using it and the effect that it has for them, and these people are saying that it's very beneficial for them just to have that extra support.
Nice.
So, Microsoft Soundscape. It's a free app for iOS.
Okay, so my last tech nugget is something that we've just kind of fire up here in the last week or so, and it's the Merge Cube. And we took a look at these, I mean, they've been around for a little bit, like at least a couple months, right?
Yeah.
Can you agree? Yeah. Except that Walmart just had them on like a fire sale for $1. And so we're seeing Merge Cube like totally just took off this, last week and a half, 2 weeks?
I was a little scared, well, not scared, but nervous that they were selling them for $1. I thought, does that mean they're just getting rid of all their stock and they weren't making them anymore? But no, they've gone back up to normal price now and they're still selling them.
So what's interesting about this little Merge Cube, and then we bought a couple because we're like, well, everybody's kind of talking about these right now. We should probably get them in and take a look at them. So it kind of works. We've talked a little bit about Erasma here and there, haven't we, about that trigger with the augmented reality. And so this little cube is a trigger for some different apps that are created by Merge Cube. Some of them are free and some of them are paid. And this little cube becomes a trigger then for some different augmented reality. So we haven't played with it a whole lot, and we'll definitely do this in news and follow-up, but something maybe to take a look at. We're seeing it kind of pop up on Twitter all of a sudden. And what's neat about it is that, just for $1, you could bring in augmented reality to your classroom and have it right there, pre-made, ready to go for you. So I think that's kind of where some of the interest lies, too. So...
yeah, I think it's one of those things that's got a lot of potential, and it's just a matter of which way are they going to develop this. Are they going to develop it more of like a game and a toy, or are they going to develop it more of an educational thing, or are they going to try and do both? I mean, you look at people like Osmo who've got those kind of similar kind of decisions to make and where they go with that, and they do a pretty good job, I think, of striding both parts for making it an educational game and stuff like that. But we'd really like to see, too, the ability to create with the Merge Cube, right? So if Merge Cube, you're listening, we want our kids to be able to create some AR using your that would be really fun
tool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got any podcast picks?
I do.
What you got on your player right now?
I do have one podcast pick I thought might be worth sharing, and this is a new one by Seth Godin. Do you know Seth Godin, or have you heard of Seth Godin?
Why does that name sound familiar? Yes. I mean, the name sounds familiar, but
he's a pretty well-known author and thought leader, I would say.
Okay.
He has a new podcast called Akimbo, and an unusual name. I don't remember the origins of it, but if you listen to episode 1, he talks about the origins of Akimbo.
Okay. Don't spoil it on me.
There you go.
Okay.
Let's go with that. I can't remember, but let's just go as a spoiler warning. I just listened to episode 3, and I think that's a really good one to start on. Episode 3 talks about why average isn't something we should be ever trying to aim for or design for anymore. He had this really interesting story about how fighter pilots in like the 1950s, they were finding they were having a really high percentage of crashes or accidents and things like that. And they brought in these engineers to look at the planes and things. And one of the things they decided was the seats haven't been changed in like 30 years or something.
Okay.
And people are different sizes now. They're stronger, they're fitter, they're bigger. So he redesigned a seat based on what the average would be from all these different measurements. And what he found out was it basically only fit like 3% of their pilots when you design for the average. And I'm like, this reminds me so much of... And then he went straight into education and saying how in education, that's what we do. We take our instruction and we send it straight down the middle at the average kid, and the kids on the bottom... it's too hard for, and the kids on the top is too easy for, and then the average we think is the majority of our kids, but it's not like always majority of our kids anymore. So he's very sensitive to educational needs. He's not only talking about education, but he's talks about business and entrepreneurs and stuff like that too. But Akimbo by Seth Godin. He's a very thought-provoking guy. I think he's very intelligent, and I enjoy listening to him.
All right. Well, I have a podcast pick, and I know you don't want to hear it because it's a crime investigative podcast.
Oh, really? That's
you always turn your nose up at my, is this another crime podcast you're listening to?
Is this another crime podcast you're listening to?
Oh, why, thanks for asking. Yes, it is.
What's it called?
So I've been listening to In the Dark, and it is about a child who went missing in Minnesota back like in the... mid 80s, late 80s. And interestingly enough, as I was kind of listening to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this kid and I are the same age. This was like when I was a kid.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting.
Long ago?
Can it? And so it's a little boy called Jacob Wetterling. And what's interesting is that I had not known this story, but apparently it was a pretty big story at the time that it happened, and there was like a nationwide search for this child. And I think it's really interesting because it talks a lot about the investigation that was done by the police officers and kind of picks apart why it took so long to find Jacob. So it's kind of a quick listen, I think, and there's 2 seasons. I'm only on season 1, but I would definitely... maybe listen to that one if you like crime podcasts.
Every time I see articles or stories about podcasts being popular, crime podcasts are apparently a very popular genre. Everybody loves them.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, if
keep
you look at like
Mindy.
Law and Order and CSI, I mean, those are popular TV shows.
Right.
It's the same thing, you
They
know?
are.
Yeah. We like suspense, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and I think that's, so
that makes sense.
I really like this one a lot.
All right, better wrap it up then. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Daryl Loy and Kim Watson for giving us props on Twitter recently. And seeing as this was a podcast all about PE and technology, Mindy, can you tell us your story about your seesaw session with Anne Griffin's PE meean the other day?
I have not seen that.
I thought that was worth sharing.
So I normally don't get I don't know how to say this without coming across like, well, I'm your sidekick and I get that. So a lot of times you get like, oh yeah, I met somebody and they're like, oh, your voice sounds really familiar. Oh my gosh, are you on the podcast? And anyway, I don't normally get that. So I was in helping one of our consultants here at Grant Wood with a class that she was teaching, and she wanted me to come in and talk about Seesaw. And so in the middle of me talking, Jared... Hi, Jared. Called out in the middle of me talking. Oh my gosh, are you on that Tech Takeout? Are you Mindy from the Tech Takeout? And I was like, yeah, yes, I am. And so I had never really gotten that before. So that kind of made me smile. And then he sent out a nice tweet, maybe the next morning or that night, I don't know, and said that he was really excited to meet me. So
he wanted your autograph.
Yeah, my autograph's not worth anything, but so that was really nice. So hi, Jared Carter. Thank you so much for giving us a shout out on Twitter and recognizing me. I don't know what.
That's fine. All right, so I am Jonathan Wiley on Twitter. Mindy is at Team Carney. Our team account is at DLGWAEA. And if you want, you can use our hashtag EdTechTakeout to tag the show, just like those nice people did. If you prefer, you can send us an email to podcast@gwaea.org. So, until next time.
This has been the EdTech Takeout. We hope it hit the spot.
For more information on today's episode, please visit dlgwaea.org/podcast.